Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here, during the Thursday Night Football Showdown slate between the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports daily fantasy sports sites. Real quick, I do want to say thank you guys again for all support. Currently right now, 5.09 thousand subscribers now on YouTube. The easiest way to support me, since all the content is free, is just leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload videos, you know when I go live. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to live stream for this Thursday night game, but I'll try to keep you guys updated with injury news and stuff on Twitter. Also, if you guys cannot watch the YouTube videos, I do upload on Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. It's the DK DFS show. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So we go from a really, really nice game with Chiefs and the Ravens to the Broncos Jets. Yeah, this one definitely not as exciting as the Ravens Chiefs. Should be pretty ugly. The over-under, they took it down actually from Bovada. Last time I saw it was Denver. It was a 40 over-under with Denver 3-point favorites. So before we get into players and their prices for the showdown slate, let's take a look at snap counts for both teams in the most recent game, and then I can kind of give you guys my player-by-player breakdown here. So for Denver, Philip Lindsay was out the last game, looking like there's a possibility he might be able to go for Thursday, so that's something to keep an eye on. If he does, I think that makes Royce Freeman probably sees minimal touches. In that last game, though, yeah, Melvin Gordon played 62% of the snaps, whereas Royce Freeman played 38%. Again, if Lindsay plays, I think he kind of takes over the Royce Freeman role. Wide receiver, the rookie KJ Hamler stepped in and played 92% of the snaps. That's good to see. Tim Patrick 84% and JUDY 73%. Three other receivers did play, but nothing you can really feel confident in. I mean, Hamilton did get almost 20% of the snaps, but again, super, super risky if you're going to target anyone outside those top three receivers. For the tight end situation, Noah Fant playing almost 80% of the snaps. Jake Butt did get 20%. Vanette 20% as well. If we look at New York's running back situation, kind of ugly here. Frank Gore played 41% of the snaps, so they did fall behind. So phasing them out a bit. Balaj and Perrine played about 30% each. I mean, Gore is going to be the lead back, but man, you can't be excited about playing Frank Gore on this slate. Wide receiver situation also ugly for the Jets. Jameson Crowder's status is up in the air, trending towards he might be available for this game, so that's something to keep an eye on. But when he missed the last game, it was Hogan and Barrios playing about 80% of the snaps with Malone and Kager, who is not even on the slate. Malone at 60%, Kager at 45% of that last game. Tight end situation, Herndon played about 80% of the snaps with Griffin and Wesco working in a bit there at about 20% each. So, like I said, this is going to be a really ugly slate and complete opposite of Chiefs-Ravens. Chiefs-Ravens, I told you guys I wanted to play both quarterbacks. This one, I don't think you have to play either. Now, again, for a cash game setting, I still think you do play them both with Reapin and Sam Darnold, just because they have the highest floor. You can look to the running backs too, but man, this is just, we have a third-string quarterback and Sam Darnold, who has really, really struggled. So, it is not great. But we'll start at the top here, Melvin Gordon at 11K. He's going to be popular. I mean, I think it is for a good reason because it's hard to trust basically anyone else on this slate. Denver is, again, working with their third-string quarterback, so I think they will lean more on Melvin Gordon. And I don't think, like, that game against Tampa Bay, they fell behind big time, so he got phased out a bit. This game should stay close to terrible teams. So, Melvin Gordon is a guy that, is a good pass catching back as well. And he is their lead back. I think he does get 60 to 7% of the touches here. So, yeah, you're going to have to pay a premium for him. But on this slate, he probably feels like one of the safest, if not the safest options. So I think he's a safe play, but not necessarily a must play. Again, the two quarterbacks, Darnold and Reapin. Darnold's at 10-6, has been struggling, but I do probably slightly prefer him to Reapin. It's a close one for me. 10-6, right? I don't think he's going to be super, super popular, and this is definitely a slate where I think you can look to the defenses. But, yeah, I think Sam Darnold is fine. Again, this is not the quarterbacks that we had last game. Reapin, might be mispronouncing it. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He is going to start. Now, they did say, Nick Fangio did say that there's potential that Driscoll could still work in, which obviously is not good to hear either if they're going to use two quarterbacks. So that does worry me a little bit with him. That's why I think I would slightly prefer Sam Darnold to Reapin. But on this slate, I don't think you have to play both. I think there's a real possibility that you could fade both quarterbacks in an ugly game like this. And then we have Noah Fant at 9K. The good thing with him is the targets have been there, right? 6, 5, and 10 targets. He's a guy that can go to in the red zone, so I have no issue with Fant. I think, again, if I'm spending up, I feel a little bit more comfortable going to Melvin Gordon or going to the quarterbacks just because they have a little bit of a higher floor. But I think Fant probably has a little bit more upside, so coming, with his second year now, I think he's a guy that definitely has, is going to have a breakout year. Already kind of having it, with the first few games so far, even with bad quarterback play. So Font's a guy that I think looks like a really, really good play there at 9K. Jamison Crowder at 8-2. This is something to keep an eye on, right? He is currently listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. They think he's going to go. If he does go, completely takes Braxton Berrios out of play because he would probably play very little, if not at all. And then Crowder would work in the slot, and we know Sam Darnold loves working the slot receivers, right? We saw it with Crowder week 1. We've seen it with Berrios the last couple of weeks. So if Crowder's out, I like Berrios a lot. If Crowder plays, I like him a good amount. Just because, like I said, Sam Darnold loves peppering the slot receivers. So if James Crowder plays and is not going to be limited, I think he's one of the better plays of the day there at 8.2K. Yeah, JUDY at 7-8, I think is a perfectly fine option. The targets have been there on him, 8, 7, and 9 targets. I do think I prefer a guy like KJ Hamler for cheaper to JUDY, but that doesn't make JUDY out of play, right? Anyone is really playable on these showdown slates. So, not saying JUDY's out of play. I think I personally probably feel a little bit more comfortable getting up to Font or going down to a guy like KJ Hamler, who we'll talk about in a bit. Berrios, right? So this is strictly dependent on Crowder news. If Crowder is out, I like Berrios even at 7-2. If Crowder plays, I have absolutely no interest in Braxton Berrios. So whoever does end up starting there for the Jets at the slot, I have a good amount of interest in. Frank Gore at 6'4". Ugh, this is so gross, but I think you got to consider him here. The price point makes him playable. Adam Gase really likes this guy for some reason. We don't know why, but he does. 21 carries for 63 yards, 15 carries, 50. Like, that's just your typical Frank Gore stat line. Like, he's probably going to get like 20 carries for like 50 yards in this game, and that's it. Not a guy that's going to do a whole lot in the passing game, too. So, if you think the Jets are playing from ahead, yeah, Frank Gore is playable. Again, as gross as that sounds, I think he is in a game like this. If they do fall behind, I think that does worry me a bit with Gore and his workload. But if the Jets are playing from ahead, I think he does get a good amount of carries, maybe in the realm of 15 to 20-ish carries for him. So you're not going to feel great about it, but the price point and I just think he's the least viable. Now, Philip Lindsay, this is something to keep an eye on. Limited participant. If he plays, completely takes a guy like Royce Freeman out of play. 6'2", though, we're not really getting him an amazing discount. Like, if I was going to play Denver running back, I would have spent all the way up for Melvin Gore. I just feel more comfortable with that than taking a shot at Lindsay, who's kind of banged up. I got no Drew Lock. Keelan Ballage got worked in a bit. He did get some extra snaps there because they fell behind. So, they fell behind big time. Had 5 catches and 5 targets. I think he is probably their best pass catching back. So, if you think the Jets are playing from behind, Ballage is probably your guy. If you think the Jets are playing from ahead, it's gross as it sounds, probably Frank Gore is the guy you want to look to. The Broncos defense, so I do think both defenses are in play here. The Jets have been super, super turnover prone, just been terrible, so 5-6 does kind of feel like a lot to pay for the Broncos defense, but they're viable. I think I do prefer the Jets defense for about $2,000 less just because they're going up against the third-string quarterback. Even though the Broncos defense is probably better, I like the price point a little bit better there on the Jets D, but both are definitely in play here. Herndon at 5'4", I do like the price on him. 5, 4, and 7 targets is not bad. Hasn't really had a breakout game yet, but this guy is pretty talented. So I kind of like him at a buy low here at 5-4. I think a big game from him is coming soon, hopefully. So I do like the upside here, and Chris Herndon there at that price. Again, we have no Perriman, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, the other receivers here for Denver. I already talked about Judy. Hamler's the favorite for me at 4.8. 7 and 5 targets, going to be playing out of the slot. I just like the price on him the best. I think he has, for his price, probably the best upside on this for the Denver wide receiving core. Tim Patrick's fine, right? He's going to be lower owned. If you want to take a direct pivot off of Hamler, go Patrick. That's fine. But I do prefer KJ Hamler. I like his upside a bit more. Both are playable. Again, Denver, the 3 wide receivers that use Judy, Patrick, and Hamler. The kickers in a game that should be pretty ugly, right at 40 over under. Probably teams will be settling for field goals. I think they're both playable here. 4-4 and 4-6. Don't really have a strong lean on who I prefer with these kickers with McManus or Ficken. But yeah, you can look to either of them at fair prices. Talked about the Jets D. I think I do slightly prefer them to the Broncos defense, but it's close. Oh yeah, Deshaun Hamilton, not cheap enough, right? He played, what was it? Let's go to Denver wide receivers. He played 19% of the snaps. It's just not enough for me to feel confident at 3.4K. Royce Freeman potentially in play if Philip Lindsay's out. If Philip Lindsay plays, I have no interest in Royce Freeman. Chris Hogan at 3.2, I do like the price on him. He's dealing with ribs and knee. So got to keep an eye on this, but he did play a majority of the game there for the Jets. He played at 80% of the snaps with no Perriman too. I think that his role is locked in if he does play. So at that price at 3.2, I think he is one of the better cheap options on the slate. 4, 8, and 3 targets. All looks pretty good for a guy this cheap. So I do have interest in Hogan. Obviously got to monitor his status though. Let's see. Perrine, did get worked a bit there. Kind of more in garbage time, though. So how many carries does he get? Don't know, right? So it's a super, super risky play. He did play. Let's go to the Jets. He did play 33% of the snaps there in week 1, but I think in week 2 didn't play a whole lot. Only 14%, right? And Gore played. So it's just like, ugh. Right, he's playable, but you're not going to feel amazing about it. 1.8K, it's at least worth a dart throw. Jake Butt, the backup tight end, probably gets about 20 to 30% of the tight end snaps. He is a good pass-catching tight end, so at least another guy that I think is in play. Like Nick Boyle, I mentioned him as a value. I actually played him last night, did catch a touchdown, but that was it. Ryan Griffin, the backup to Herndon. Again, worth a dart throw, I guess, if you want to get super, super risky. Now, Josh Malone at 200. I think he's in play here, especially if Chris Hogan's out too. Josh Malone should see a good amount of work. He played 59% of the snaps with Hogan playing. And I think if Hogan does play, Malone still gets a decent amount of snaps, right? If Crowder plays, that basically takes Barrios out of play. I think Barrios barely plays. And so, yeah, Malone at the flat min is someone you can look to, especially if Chris Hogan is out. But either way, I think he's someone that is viable if you need someone really, really cheap. And that's really it for the player-by-player breakdown, guys. So if you're making one lineup like myself, or if you're making multiple lineups, build them with how you think the games are going to play out, right? So if you think Denver plays from ahead most of the game, then obviously Melvin Gordon looks good. I think he's probably the safest option either way in the slate, as well as the quarterbacks since they have the highest floor. If you think the Jets are playing from ahead, then you can look to a guy like Frank Gore. Right, as gross as that sounds, I think Adam Gase likes giving this guy carries, so he's at least playable here. Who am I considering for captain? Well, I think a guy like Melvin Gordon at the top looks good. Both quarterbacks are viable if you want to go that route, so if you do play Sam Darnold in the captain spot, get some correlation. I'd probably play 2 of his pass catchers. Same thing with Ripon here. If you play him the captain, I would probably play 2 Denver receivers to pair him with to get some correlation. But like I said, I like the upside there in Gordon. Noah Fant, 2 of the targets have been there. Whoever does start for the Jets in the slot, whether it be Crowder or Barrios, I think look good. And then cheap options, I think a guy like Herndon and a guy like KJ Hamler, even Chris Hogan if you need something super, super cheap. Those are probably the guys I'm considering for the captain spot. So let's just say, and this is a slate where you can leave a ton of money on the table, right? It should be low scoring, ugly. There's no real star in either team. So if you're trying to win I think it's $300K to first, $10 entry. If you're trying to win that alone, get different, leave some salary on the table, or take a shot on someone like low owned in the captain spot. Let's just say, for example, we throw a Chris Hogan in the captain spot, 9K remaining. You can get whoever else you want in, but do you want to do that? Do you want to leave some salary on the table, right? So there's a lot of strategy involved. But super, super ugly game. And these showdown sites in general, guys, I don't risk a lot because they're super high variance. But always fun to have a little action on it if you're going to watch it. If you are going to watch this game, which, like I said, should not be that fun to watch. But I think that's going to do it for the video today, guys. If you haven't enjoyed the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload videos, you know when I go live. Again, unfortunately, I'm not going to be live streaming for this one, but if you have any questions, guys, feel free to hit me up in the comment section or on Twitter. I'll be happy to answer them. I'll keep you guys updated, too, with injury status, right, with the status of Jameson Crowder, with the status of Philip Lindsay. That obviously does change some things on this slate. Thanks again, guys. Hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you all later.